We're live. Chris Wise, welcome to the Bout Whatever podcast.
Yes, sir. Let's do our ceremonial podcast handshake.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes. This is long overdue, man. We've been trying to figure this out for a minute.
I went back in the DM chain since November.
Yeah?
And you started it.
Yeah. I started it during like the pandemic, a little bit towards the end of it, I think I started, you know? I want to start this off with this song that I found. I just want to get your reaction to it.
Okay.
This is from years ago, man. I actually I don't know if you remember when I was doing the
Grapevine.
The Grapevine.
Come on,
yes, sir. I just want to do that again for fun, honestly. But yo, here we go. Let's see. I had to do some digging for this, man. I was like, before you got here, I was trying to find it. Let's see.
Classic, man.
Yeah, man. And I'm gonna put it up on the screen and shit when the editing, you know what I mean?
Classic.
How's this make you feel when you hear this shit?
You are now watching a master.
I mean, see, I'm Jesus.
Yeah. This was how we were talking about with Nas on the last episode, that whole like DIY scene. This is that time, you know, when we were doing all the shows.
Cause I ain't been brushing my teeth. Bananas and peanuts from the corner. Stuff hoe for breakfast all week. I'm committed. Posted up on decal with $1 and a 50. Excuse me, bus driver. Can I
this
have
was this was a special time, man.
A
special time in
I ain't gonna have it tomorrow.
Everything that was going on, everything that everybody was like doing the thing. Again, like Nas was saying last episode, it was just like we were all just doing this for fun and like just because everybody was hungry, you know what I mean? And like
I am what I am, that's I am what I plan, I'm holding back.
It speaks to like how with age and experience you start to lose some of the childlike, you know, like natural artistic sense.
Yeah.
That you're blessed with when you're young, and then, you know, even dealing with, you know, like teens and preteens, like they already are starting to get jaded.
Yeah.
You know, or self-conscious to the point where they don't feel confident to create or confident to achieve things.
Mm-hmm.
So
how old were you during that time anyways?
That's 2014, that music video. So I had just turned 22.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so we're like the same age. I just turned 30, so.
Yes, sir.
You know, big 3-0.
But you 91 though.
Yeah, oh, you 92? Okay. How's life though, man? I haven't seen you in a while. You got a lot of new stuff that's happened to you recently. Yeah. We'll definitely we'll definitely get into that, man. But like how's life? And I know you went back to school, or did you go back to school, or were you just going through school at your own pace? Like
from that time, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I was back in school at that point. I had a little bit of work to finish up. 14, so then I graduated undergrad 15 the next year. Got my degree from CUNY's individual studies program.
Yeah.
So that's in hip hop marketing.
Okay.
So the school, McEvers, they instituted a pilot master's program, like for the first time. It had only been undergrad, so I was able to jump in that and get my master's degree in business within a year. So I've been out of school since 2016, and I definitely feel like having a master's degree, that's like in the middle to me. It's like, if you get your bachelor's, if you're going to go to step 2, which I did, I'm like, I got to go to step 3, get the doctorate.
Well, how was that process getting your master's? And I know it's like a pretty difficult thing to do. It's, you know, the schoolwork becomes much more intense and deliberate and time consuming, I can assume, you know?
Okay, I'm just trying to word it humbly. That was never my issue.
Yeah.
Like from even as a kid, like school was something I navigated very well in terms of aptitude and just the hustle of it. Because like I wasn't a kid that studied a lot. I just did the homework.
Yeah.
Or even now, when you look at college, you get a syllabus at the beginning of the semester, which is the blueprint for success. So if you want to get an A or A+, you don't have to overthink it. You just have to read the instructions and follow what the professor is telling you to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So life is like that in ways too, you know, because you get signals of what you're supposed to do, but then you end up doing this and then you end up down the poor path.
Yeah.
But maybe you should have just read the syllabus and followed it.
Yeah, and another thing is like I found through college, really all you gotta do is show up.
Physically,
you gotta be
or physically, mentally.
You gotta physically, mentally. You know, you just gotta be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you go to your classes, it's it's hard to fail. You know, I mean, I think in my opinion, I just think you just gotta be there. You know what I mean? Like I know people I went to school with that were smart people, smart dudes, smart girls, and then they got to college and just like never wanted to go to class because they got this freedom of being away from home or whatever it may be. And I just found like I was kind of like the same way with school. Like school was never really an issue for me. Even when I went to college, like I just knew I had to go to class and get it over with and do what I had to do. And that's really all you got to do, man. To pass a class, like you just got to show up. That's just like to pass. You know, I'm not saying like top tier student in the class, but I'm just saying in general, like you just need to show up.
But to your point, the lifestyle stuff, once that starts creeping in, and then if you let that really take hold of your time, then you lose track of the fact that you're there for an academic purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just like, all right, well, because if you're living in a dorm environment, I mean, you could just be social 7 days a week, you know what I mean? And not even remember that there's a library on the campus. Or that you have, you might not even log into your, whatever your Blackboard type of situation for 2 or 3 days because you just zoned out from it.
Yeah.
So I've seen both sides of it.
Yeah, I never really stayed home. I went away as soon as I like graduated high school, and I always thought that like
you came straight from Florida to Brooklyn?
No, I went from so I got like recruited late in my senior year for baseball.
Okay.
By a school in Jersey. Okay. There was another school in Texas that I could have went to too, but I decided to go to Jersey. And
at your leisure, of course.
Oh yeah.
At your leisure.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get we'll pop cool. that. We'll pop that. So yeah, I got recruited like late in my senior year to go play baseball at this school in Jersey. Okay. So I had to do a semester in Florida before I went to New Jersey. But even then, I went 4 hours north. I went to Santa Fe College, which is like the sister school to University of Florida. Okay. So Gainesville or whatever. I was there for a semester. And then I went to New Jersey, ended up having a red shirt because I tore my labrum like a week before I went there.
Labrum, that's shoulder.
Shoulder, yeah, just like rotator cuff. Was there, had a red shirt my freshman year. My freshman year. Then I stayed there for the second year and decided I didn't want to be there anymore. And then the first school I went to go look at, because like when you're in college or whatever, if you're at a school for like more than 2 years, it's kind of difficult to transfer because you might lose a lot of credits. Yeah. And it kind of like sets you back, So like year 2 is like where you really kind of need to make that decision if you're going to stay or you're going to go. And so yeah, I don't even know how, I think I just, even when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to live in New York for some reason. Like my backpack, one year, I think it was my junior year, because it was 2 years in a row, like where I had New York themed backpacks. I used to have a homie that would do like paint, like spray paint and like art and stuff. In my junior year, I had a black and white airbrush picture of Joel Santana on my backpack on a Jansport with the he took the front pouch off, so it was a straight flat. And then my senior year, I had one with like my baseball number on it and like the city skyline, like just the skyline of New York. And I don't know why, bro. I just was like, yo, I want to live in New York. I just always thought that. And then when I went to Brooklyn College, when I went to Jersey, I was so close to the city. I could see it from like the top of the hill, like where my school was. So I don't know how I even came across Brooklyn College. I just looked at it, and then I didn't even look at any other schools after that. I went on the tour and fell in love with like the campus. And I was just like, damn, yeah. And I want to go. Oh, and then I like, because I was communications in Jersey. Okay. But I didn't really like communications. Like, it was too much like on the journal, like the writing side. So I wanted to get a little bit more like technical. And I went to Brooklyn College and saw the radio station. And I was like, oh, damn, yeah, this is cool. And I went to Brooklyn, man. And I've been here like 10 years now.
So following the Joel storyline, right? Yeah. You're saying you don't know how it happened. How did you develop the affinity for New York? But can we just trace it back to hip hop? Maybe like the hip hop like infiltrated your subconscious?
I mean, it could be. I mean, because like rap and hip hop has always been my thing. I mean, and everybody, even in Florida, everybody went through the Dipset phase. You know what I mean? Like because I knew a New York rap. But like I didn't really get into like the real, like the artists that you don't hear necessarily on the main level out here until I moved here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then I start finding out about like all these like Sean Price,
Rest
like
in peace, yeah.
I knew Big L before I moved up, before when I was a kid, but like I didn't know it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when I got here, I got like introduced to a lot of the other sounds that came out of here. And I don't know. I don't know what it was, man. I just knew I wanted to live in the city for some reason. I don't think it was like listening to like New York rap and being like, damn, I want to be out there. Gotta get out there. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what it was, man. And I think a little, like I said, I think a little bit has to do with how close I was in Jersey. Like I was just a bus ride away. And I as a college athlete, like you don't have time to like do anything really. It's you're really like an athlete than a student. And so I really
athlete student. You think that's
yeah, for sure.
That's tough.
I think it is, man. Especially at like a large school, like you know, at these huge universities and things like that. Like you're definitely an athlete before a student. I just think you have so much time. You spend so much more time like at the field, training, conditioning, running, like travel, like all that. You know, so they have to find like a balance or whatever. But yeah, I had gone into the city like 4 times that whole like 2 years where I was there, and I was just like, damn, I just like this shit. Like, never even really went to Brooklyn. I was just kind of like on that like touristy shit, like Midtown, downtown a little bit, you know, just exploring. And then yeah, I came out here, man. And then where did I meet you? I met you at Brooklyn College, right? Because didn't you? Okay, yeah, let's talk about that for a little bit. And let's pop this bottle. Let's pop this.
It would have been 12 because I was in the CUNY Individual Studies Program, which for all, not just New Yorkers, but for anybody who's looking for an interesting, affordable program, you know, the program allows you, it's called CUNY BA. It allows you to build your own major, and then you have your home school that you're attached to, but then you're able to pull from the like entire CUNY Rolodex and
take classes from...
You build your degree based on the best classes that suit what you want.
And then you can so you can pick through pick through all the courses that you want to take, but then you basically just like pick a campus where you want to study all these, or
no, you can study throughout the whole. I think it's all CUNY senior colleges. I think you had to be at a 4-year school. But
yeah,
I could have. I mean, looking back, maybe I would have tried to broaden my horizons, but coming from where I'm from in Crown Heights, I really didn't want to be taking classes at York. You feel me? Like I didn't want to have to, in the middle of the day, be on the train for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then have to go back. So I'm like, well, I'm going to limit my search. I'm going to do my classes, whatever classes I can take at my home school, McEvers, Brooklyn College, and then I took one course at City Tech.
Okay.
Which was a dope hip-hop course. I think it was a hip-hop worldview. You know, so even though I was in this, you could go anywhere, I still was doing like a lot of coursework at Brooklyn. So that's how I ended up there, and then that's how we crossed paths. That would have been in 2012, like who's on deck.
Yeah, because I graduated. Man, I still everyone's. Cheers.
Respect.
Let
that go, boy.
You know, as always, we're officially sponsored by Bel Air. You know, I'm trying to get that Black Bottle Boy sponsor, man.
You're not trying, you manifesting, so
yeah,
it'll be here soon enough.
Yeah, it'll be here soon enough, exactly. So no, we met, like 2012, because I graduated like 2013, and you were like an intricate part of the Who's on Deck ciphers and the Who's on Deck show in general, like because you performed at a lot of our like ciphers and some of our events, right?
Yeah, we did the concert up in the student center. I can't remember.
Was that ours or was that Nigel's?
Oh, okay.
Which one was it?
It might have been the Dean's.
Was it when Roger wore the kilt?
The kilt, and he had like the black leather jacket with the blue hoodie, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Memories are mug, man.
Black leather jacket.
Just by you saying that, I'm seeing it. You know?
Yeah, right? Yeah, no, I
shout out to the big homie, man. His father just passed away.
Yeah. Shout out to him and sending love his way for sure.
But he's also engaged to be married too, you know, so there's highs and lows in life, man.
I did see that. Congratulations to him, man.
That.
I texted him the other day or whatever, but haven't heard back from him. I'm sure he's getting, you know, a million messages. You know, he's a popular guy.
But plus, with you know, having, you know, and I guess we'll get there at some point in terms of 2020 and stuff like that, you really got to sit with the grief too.
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
I think if you try to, when a loved one passes away, I know there's 10 million things you got to do, but within that, you got to find some time, 1 to 3 days or however you process it.
Yeah.
This really just happened, you know what I mean? Like, let me try to, I wouldn't say process it, because process it could take 10 years, but just embrace it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look that pain in the eye. And
yeah, and that's a tough one too, like losing your dad, you know what I mean? That's a tough one. That's always going to be a tough one.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible. I'm not going to know that level. I didn't grow up with my father.
Yeah, same.
Still the same storyline, so I wouldn't know that particular relationship. But I've seen it. Like, I've seen so much death around me. So
yeah.
It's like I've become this expert on it. And it's like something you would not, you don't want to have to be a death expert. Expert, and what to say to people, and what Bible verses you could try to quote. Like, it's not anything that's fun. It's purposeful, and it could help, keep people, keep those people's spirits alive, or help bring them back to some sort of peace. But
yeah,
it ain't fun, but it's a part of life, right?
Well, touching on that subject, I want to pick your brain on that, because as well, I didn't know my dad at all until I reached out to him when I was like 25.
Wow.
24, 25, because I just got to the point where I was just like, yo, I need to meet this guy, and because if I don't,
no contact at all, didn't know,
nah, never.
So how was the search process?
I mean, I just found him on Facebook.
Okay. Good job, Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, I found him on Facebook. He tried to reach out to me when I was in middle school, and tried to meet me or whatever. My sister has memories of him because she was older when he was around. So
I don't. He wasn't having it, or your mom's wasn't having it?
Nah, I wasn't. Because
fuck this guy, man.
Yeah, well, I was, it wasn't really necessarily fuck this guy. It was just I kind of had a stepdad in the picture at that moment, who later passed away in my freshman year of college. Okay, but my condolences. Thank you. But yeah, no, have you ever met your dad, or?
Yeah, they broke up prior to my birth, so it was always distant physically, even though he was in the Bronx.
Yeah.
But I saw him somewhat periodically, maybe 1 to 3 times a year. And it was always positive interactions, and I would be, at the family house in the Bronx, and knowing my cousins and, my grandparents and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And over time, and obviously him getting his new family is a major key of that. Over time, it just became more infrequent, and then the last of it was around my college years, and I think he has at least 2 kids, and I met one of them, the son I never met. And then I dealt with a lot of anger on that toward the perfect storm time of a young man's life, that 16, 17, sophomore, junior year of high school. I was really pissed. I used to call his phone and leave angry voicemails and shit like that. So when I got to the final resolve of it is well, I'm an adult now. This person has shown me that he's not interested in me. That's the proof of it. So I could be Mr. High Road and well, that's my dad. It would be good to have a relationship, but it's how we move in the world right now. If somebody crosses me once and is vicious enough,
yeah,
it's done for you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So if I have now 29 years of resume of you being trash, I'm not gonna go seek you out for you to come into my life, because you already, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You snaked me already. Mm-hmm. I'm not about to bring you around so you could come try to sell me some talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's nothing you really could say, because we had the capacity to have a relationship because we used to see each other. You brought me gifts. Mm-hmm. You feel me? So what's really your rationale for taking that path of life?
Yeah.
And then obviously now I have the completely different perspective on it now as a father. And to know how fly that shit is on an everyday basis, just to see my son.
Yeah.
So now I know that he made a conscious choice to just dip and like do other shit. Like what? I don't know. It's like some weird ass shit.
Yeah, I feel you. That kind of, I mean, like I said, I had no memory of my dad at all. So when I got to the age where I was just like, because really what it was for me, it was just like, I just need to meet him for myself. You know what I mean? Like I just need to see him. You know what I mean? And like get some shit off my chest about how I felt about him not being around, right? Mm-hmm. And so whatever, yeah, I met him when I was like 25. My sister came with me. He was like living with his girlfriend or whatever.
Okay.
He I don't know, like according to my mom, he had like a pretty rough life, like with his dad and shit like that. But then he became like a cop in Miami in like the 80s, or South Florida in like the 80s, when that shit was like crazy, cocaine, like it was just crazy to be like the whole police force in Miami and Fort Lauderdale were like mostly corrupt. Like I guess he went undercover and like got tied up in some shit, and that's where he went, you know what I mean? And my mom was just like, fuck this. But when I met him, it was like, I was just like, all right, this is cool, like I'm glad I did it. But I've hung out with him maybe like 2 or 3 times, maybe 4 or 5 times, I don't know, 3 or 4 times maybe after that. And still to this day, I'm like, I'm glad I did it, but it's hard for me to care about building a relationship. You know what I'm saying? And it's because like how you said, it's because it's like you had all these years, like you know, you could have done some things. You know what I'm saying? Like to allow me to feel differently. You know what I mean? So when you get to that age where you're like, I mean, I don't have a kid. You know what I mean? But I felt that when I got my nephew, mm-hmm. where I was just like, yo, I can't like be not around this kid. Like and again, like he doesn't have a dad, so I'm like the father figure to him, you know what I mean, in a sense, because like I have to be, I try to be there as much as I can, you know. Mm-hmm. But like, talk to me about, let's stay on that topic, like you are a new father, Sage, right?
Yes, sir, big Sage, man.
Did he just turn a year?
Nah, he's 7 months.
7 months. Okay, I thought I saw something about. Well, I did see he got 2 teeth, right?
Yeah.
I saw that post the other day.
That's one of the big achievements in his life.
Yes, yeah. They just got to chill, man. They just, you know, they wake up, they get taken care of, they just get pushed around, get some food. Now, you know, the hardest thing he's going through is getting some teeth, you know.
Yeah, and then figuring out his walking.
Oh, true.
That's going to be his next frontier, for sure.
So what's that like, man? What's it like being a new dad?
Well,
what was it actually, before you go into what it feels like to be a new dad? What was it like when you found out that you were going to be a dad?
So the beginning of the narrative is 2019, mm-hmm. when we were first found out we were pregnant.
Yeah,
and that was the celebration of that. And then within a few weeks, there was a miscarriage. Mm-hmm. So imagine that's the ultimate height and the ultimate low of life within the span of 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Life and death. And having to figure that out all on the fly, nothing gonna prepare you for something like that, right? This is the first time we're about to get pregnant, and then boom. So I still don't even understand that. It's not something that I think about often. I've, you know, written about it a few times, but it just is. That's just something on the jacket that it's just there, and I don't.
Yeah, and nothing like nothing can really prepare you for how you're gonna deal with that. Like you just got to take it and figure it out.
Mm-hmm. So that's what that was. So then we go into, well, one thing I did, I was working a serious corporate job at the time, and the death put me into a perspective of like, well, if life can come and go that quickly, how much of my spirit am I gonna spend in this role that is not me? Yeah. When if either after work I'm working on this thing, or on my lunch break I'm trying to write this song or whatever, or you know what I'm saying, I have all of these ideas, I'm cooking, but it's like, well, I don't want to waste my life away doing something that I feel is just a stepping stone anyway. Why don't I just give my all right now? So I ended up leaving that job, which I'm happy with the decision, but little did I know, by the time I leave that job, a few months later, insert global pandemic. Yeah. So You know what I'm saying? So that was a big curveball. So it's like being unemployed at that time wasn't
ideal.
Fire.
Yeah.
And I had ended up getting a new job like March 8th, and then I was supposed to start orientation on the day that New York City got shut down, March 16th. So I was about to get my pieces back together, but no, clip for that too. So March, that's March. Then
and you couldn't when you leave a job, like were you eligible for the unemployment that was coming through? Nah, right? Because you left.
I made that decision on the spiritual tip.
Yeah,
where it was just like I just got to do something different. And that's been a like, you know, looking back, I'm 10 years in music, so this is like a big year and just a big like reset moment for me of like, you know, looking at, okay, got a decade in, so like what's up for the next decade? I wish that I was more, I mean, I felt like I was always business savvy, but I just wasn't as money hungry as I needed to be based on my role in life. As I'm an only child, so it's not like I have older brothers that's gonna hold me down.
Yeah.
I don't have a dad, so I don't have him that's gonna hold me down. Now I'm a husband, so now I have more responsibility. So it's like if I was trying to do art as a side hustle and then just always had like a core, you know what I'm saying, business thing that I was doing, like a 9-to-5 or just something that was like that would have been a way better situation for me. So I would always advise a young artist that, like, don't try to put the cash register on your art, like, as the main thing, like, right when you're just getting started. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, having to be money hungry for your artwork or for any startup, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're depending on your startup to feed you, that's really risky. You know what I'm saying? Because you could pop out, you know what I'm saying, and get, you know, some quick success, but it's like, that's not, it's a startup, so it's not guaranteed that 3 months from now, them same pieces is going to be hitting. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been caught in that quagmire of, like, being so invested in my creativity that I wasn't necessarily taking care of just like my personal business elements. As more of an adult, it's like now I have way more responsibility, so I have to put the family business first, and then that has created this decrease on my capacity to do art and entrepreneurial endeavors. So it's like throughout 2020, I was asking myself, how serious am I going to continue to take this music in particular? Like, I love it. I'm skilled in it. I've already had success in it. So it's not like it's a pipe. For some people, they're going to have the imposter syndrome of wondering, is this a pipe dream or not? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or like, okay, they nod in their head when I play it, but like, is it really hot? Like, do they really fuck with me? So it's like, thankfully, I don't have that issue. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could, you know, there's been plenty of time when I wasn't writing, but I know as soon as I come back to it, I'm still me. And matter of fact, I'm better than I was the last time.
Did you have imposter system early on? You know, right, like when we were talking about earlier, like third eye days and like, you know, people fucking with your music back in that. I mean, because I know you remember, bro, like when you performed, you had a lot of energy and people fucked with it. Like it was a moment. Like, did that ever cross your mind? Like, nah, I'm dope. Like, it doesn't really matter. I like to say, like, it's like, I like to tell people, like, you just got to get like a certain amount of fuck it in your system. You know what I mean?
Particularly if you're gonna be pursuing rap. You know what I'm saying? That you know, rap is very braggadocious. You know what I'm saying? So if you go out there with the, I mean, I guess you could sell self-consciousness now. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, shout out to Kanye of making, you know, to be tapped in with one's inner emotions and thoughts. You know, that's something that, you know, he helped shepherd into the music industry, or at least the hip hop culture with, you know, things he was talking about on the College Dropout. So to your question, I'm dealing with imposter syndrome now in a new business I'm trying to get into. So looking back, I can't say that I was dealing with imposter syndrome with music because I had a great debut. Like I was spending so much time in my dorm freestyling and developing my voice and figuring out I was rapping since I was a kid. First of all. That's the most important part. You know what I'm saying? I started rapping in the 5th grade in the lunchroom, and then I really was writing heavily in high school, and then only when I got to school in Mass did I start taking it seriously and say, okay, I want to see what's up, like as a career path. I went to school for sports management originally, and that's still a dream that I've circled back to, and I'm still working. I'm not trying. I'm working to execute the original vision. So I put so much work in privately, and then my debut was this freestyle competition at I was in a sports management organization, so we had a charity basketball tournament, and then we had the freestyle tournament, within the games, intermission vibes, and I splashed. You know what I'm saying? My debut was a splash. You know what I'm saying? Like I got boy up out of there. I was going against. So it's like for me.
So it was a battle?
It was a battle.
Oh shit!
A freestyle battle too. You know what I'm saying? I don't remember what he was saying, but I do remember after I chefed him up, I heard that he was about to like stop rapping. You know what I'm saying? So
you ended somebody's career?
Reportedly.
Supposedly. I don't know. Have you checked in on them?
No. But I got some people that can vouch for that, and the video is still, out there in the serververse. So
yeah.
The second round, other people was spin written. They wasn't really freestyling. So I didn't win the competition, but that was my first public rap performance, and I did what I had to do. So that already set me. I mean, I already knew I was hard because of the work I was doing privately. It just that was me
being reassured.
No, I would just say that was me becoming a performing artist. You know what I'm saying? It's different from being a recording artist and pressing play on a laptop in a dorm.
Yeah.
Or even going to the studio. But I mean, think about how many people want to do music and they go to the studio but never put music out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I risked. Remember, I'm 19 years old on a college campus. Like if I'm trash, I'm risking my whole social life. You know what I'm saying? Like if I let if I let this dude chef me up, I gotta walk around. I gotta eat.
And you gotta deal with that.
In the same DC with these people. Yeah, that old boy. You know what I'm saying? You see the video, boy? You know what I'm saying? So it's like I didn't have to do that. Like I really, I did what I had to do. So I never suffered with that because I believed. You feel me? Like I believed in what I was doing, and even to this day, even before coming here, I'm with Sage. I'm, rehearsing and working on stuff. I'm rapping in his face. Like I believe. If I believe my shit enough to rap it for my child, and let him soak it up, and I was rapping on the trains. Back when to talk about that era. So
were you rapping on, what were those trains? Was it those train ciphers that used to happen back in the day? You remember those?
I mean, sometimes I used to just rap on the train though.
Just to do it.
Yeah, not even on no hustle shit. Like I know there was it was some of us that did it on the business tip, but like you had to lab it. You know what I'm saying? Just like you talk about as an athlete, like you got to put time in. It's not just the show. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not the show, and that's always been a major element of my approach to music is the work. In the private work, like by the time anytime I went to, I never was a guy. I never had the we're going to the studio, we're gonna work on something. Like, that never was my situation. Like I had to get to the point to get to the studio. So by the time I'm in there, I didn't already rehearse the song 3,000 times.
Yeah.
On a literal. So I believe, man.
Yeah, I feel you. That's it, and that's a good thing because I mean, I remember when I was DJing a bunch, like that would happen to me. I would have like imposter syndrome or whatever. I wouldn't say it was like part of the reason why I kind of like stopped DJing, but like part of the reason why I stopped DJing, I was talking about it with Nas on the last episode, was I felt like it became like a popularity contest out here. Like it's like there's like a business side of it, yeah. Like how many people can you bring to our event if you DJ? You know?
Okay,
I get that.
Yep.
But like I felt like it was like to be honest, I was like, damn, I'm a lot better than a lot of these DJs, but they're getting booked based on the fact that they're like at every party. And they're here, they're there, you know what I mean? They're just like the word back then, mixy or whatever. But back when I was DJing and stuff, like I remember like people coming up to me and being like, I would be on a high after, like right after the show, people would come up to me and be like, yo, it was sick, blah, 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 like, But then when I would get home, I would be like, man, were people like really, like, were they telling the truth, or like people were people just like lying? And it's so crazy to think that, because it's like, who's gonna fucking go out of their way like and be like, let's go tell the DJ like he was fire even though he sucked? Like, this is New York, bro. Like, people don't, they're, you know what I mean? Like, they don't have that in them. If you suck, you're going to know,
Middle school, high school shit.
Yeah.
Where a chick will tell you she like you, and then you think y'all about to get something going, but it really was just an inside joke between her and friends.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, like, let's invite him to the party, but there's actually, like, no party, and we gave him the wrong address. Like,
yeah.
Little super bad type shit like that, man. But, yeah, as adults, like, people shouldn't be fucking with you like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's kind of like the point that I was going to get to. It was like, especially with this, with the podcast, is like going back to what I said a couple minutes ago. Like, you just got to get like a certain amount of fuck it in your system. Like, I don't care how many views this does, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just put it out and it's just for me. You know what I mean?
You're doing what you want to do with your life.
Exactly.
You're only going to be here for this one time in this physical joint. So
yeah, and people are like, yo, you don't care about like this, that. And I'm like, I do. I care about like, the views. I care about the views, but I don't care about the views. You know what I mean? Because I want this podcast to eventually be something bigger.
Of course.
Of course, right? And it's just like, but for me, it's just like I get such a high after I leave here. I'm like, damn, I just did this. It was a really good episode. I just want to put it out and just it be there, and then move on to the next one. You know what I mean? And
of
like,
course.
I just like that. I like that feeling. I feel like I finally kind of, over the last couple of years, like maybe the last 2-3 years, I've just kind of accepted the fuck it. Well,
because if you think about it, right, you stress the views, right? But you really have to stress the work. Yeah. You have to focus on doing more shows. You have to focus on not like, oh, this only did this. It's like, no, focus on better marketing.
Yeah.
To get to the goal, or just focus, tune in on the work to manifest what you want versus obsessing over your perceived failures, where it's not that you're a failure, it's just you're just on the way.
Yeah.
And then if you look at your work in a vacuum, you're not going to be stressed about, well, we doing 5 and they doing 25. If you're not worried about their 25.
Yeah. I'm just
happy with your 5.
I'm cool with that. Yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I'm saying? Because like, damn, like there was a time I didn't even have a pod. You know what I'm saying? I spent 8 months thinking about this shit.
Exactly. I had shout out my old roommate and one of my close friends, Erickson.
He's a big pro, I know.
You know Erickson, right?
Not personally, but I know he's very credentialed.
Yeah. I've lived with him for like years, and then I met him at Brooklyn College. We were like, he didn't live on the same floor as me, but we lived in the dorms together.
Okay, on Kenilworth.
Yeah,
okay,
yes, sir.
I spent a little time over there.
That shit was, those dorms were so fun, man. Oh man, that was like a great introduction to New York City for me, because it allowed me to like meet all these people within like a confined area, and allowed me to like build a base. You know what I'm saying? Like it was so important for me to live there my first year. I only lived there for a year, and then I went and got an apartment. But it was just like I needed that first year of just like being around people. That were all kind of like we were going to the same place.
Right, versus kind of being like a fish out of water.
Yeah, like moving into an apartment with like randoms and being like kind of like separated. Like it was like school, and then 2 blocks away was my house. You know what I'm saying? So it was like they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Erickson, because like he's been on my ass forever, bro. He's been like, yo, you got to do something. Like you got to do skits, or you got to do a show, or like you just got to do it. Like, and I'll shoot it for you. And shout out to him, because the first you'll notice in the first couple episodes of this podcast, like it's a little bit more advanced with like with the cameras, because it's like we had 2 cameras. We had 3 cameras in the beginning. one center and then one for each of our profiles or whatever. So in the beginning, like you'll notice like it's edited like that. Like when you're speaking or like something important, it singles out on you or whatever. But he got me into the first episode. I think it was like first 4 episodes he was there for, and then he was just like, yo, I'm a little busy, so I'm just gonna set you off with the camera. You got the ball rolling. So it was good, man. Like and like I said, like I don't care about the views, bro. It just feels good to me that I'm doing this,
Well, to the point about the imposter syndrome, if you can get one true fan or one true believer, or if you have a business, if you have one customer, then that's at least a preliminary proof of concept.
Yeah.
Your shit is real, because if it's trash, it's not gonna get any traction. You know what I'm saying? Like people, this, our way we interact today is so fast that if someone actually stops to truly engage with what you're doing in a real way, then you gotta appreciate that. And then just like, it's like if we're looking for the, what's the thing in the wall, if like we have to use the scanner,
the studs.
Yes, right. So it's like find where that stud is at, and then just try to just expand on that. Turn 1 into 2 and 2 into 4.
Yeah, and it kind of is probably like, I'm speaking for you kind of at this point, but like I'm sure it was like when you recorded like your first song in like a studio or whatever, like your first official song, you know what I mean, and you were like, damn, like I can do this. Like this is like what it actually feels like to do it on a level of like being an artist. Because everybody can rap with their friends, you know what I'm saying? Like, but then when you get in the studio and put a track together and like listen to it in full length, and you're like, damn, okay, so this is what it feels like. And once you get that taste, you're like, okay, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like with the battle or whatever. You were like, okay, so people actually like fuck with me, and I can kind of do this. So like maybe I should like look into this as like something serious rather than like a hobby.
Well, 2 points, because by the time I got to that point, the only reason I had a love for it always, right? Music, growing up on BET culture, and T.I. was one of my favorites. Nelly, I had the Murphy Lee CD, Ludacris, Chicken and Beer. I really grew up like as a super into like Southern music. Only like
that's funny.
Classic
funny.
New York stuff, like that was more of a big deal. Like as an adult, Gangstar, Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? I really started tuning into that later. But I was growing up on Youngbloods, you feel me? Big timers, you know what I'm saying? So,
85. I was listening to that track the other day, like on repeat.
Which one?
85 by Youngbloods.
Okay. So you know Youngbloods album, because I know BET Youngbloods. You know what I'm saying? I know Damn and.
Yeah, there's Damn, and then there's 85. It's like
I know about Presidential.
I know the song.
Where we smoke that good.
Yeah.
George,
but 85 is like the smooth one that they had.
Okay.
Oh fuck. Keep going. I'm not gonna play it, but I'm just gonna look up the name of that song.
We'll follow it. We'll put it in the show selects.
Yeah. What's it called? 85 Youngbloods. Let's see.
But to the point, I love
85
music.
Billy D.
Okay. I love music, but it was a Tupac interview that I watched. And this was while he was incarcerated. And he said explicitly that hip hop was the medium to reach the youth. So by him saying that, and obviously with him being an ancestor at that point, I said, well, I've heard this from you. I'm sitting in my dorm room. I heard you say that. And that's something I'm passionate about. Even though I'm here at this school, I'm majoring in sport management. I'm spending a bunch of time rapping. I now have a purpose with it. I'm willing to take my passion and try to see what we really could do with it as a career. And even going back to what you played, IB, you see the kids in that video.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, it's legit. And not necessarily through music, I've spent a great deal of energy over the course of my professional career impacting the lives of youth. So I'm happy to say that because of that decision I made that was inspired by Pac. And the crazy thing, I'm not a big Tupac fan. Like I'm not like, I love Changes and a couple of the hits, but I don't know like Tupac albums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So for him to put me on the path and me not even really to be a disciple of his musically, but just him saying that made my life more clear and put me on a direction. Like, I really appreciate that. And the other thing I wanted to say about the imposter syndrome, super early on in my career, shout out to nepotism, I got an opportunity to perform at the Brooklyn Cyclones Stadium.
Yeah, so I remember that.
Right, so that's also in 2012. So remember, I'm just really getting started in 2011. So by the next summer, I'm performing in a 7,000 seat stadium in my
on the dugout, right?
Hometown. Yeah, I'm on top of the dugout. The players looking at me. I'm looking out at the Wonder Wheel, thousands of people, and that was a real thing to where I had to write an original song for that performance, and went up there and skilled it. So it's like, well, how could I be worried about, am I nice, if I just bust down a 7,000 seat stadium?
Yeah. Not everybody gets to do that. Yeah.
Few.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because baseball is not even a hip hop space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was year 2. So I never could now, I haven't even reflected on that memory in a while, but now that we're talking about the whole imposter syndrome, and as well the fact I know I'm dealing with it now, like I'm trying to get it more into, I'm just trying to add on training as a part of my, product mix.
Yeah.
Basketball training, fitness training, stuff like that. So it's like, I'm grappling with like, can I, what I'm saying? Just trying to figure out what's going to be my approach. And I know a part of the blockages from really getting started is the imposter syndrome. It's like, well, how can I train a player that's better than me? You know what I'm saying? Or I gained a bunch of weight during the pandemic. How I'm about to tell you about fitness and I'm not in my peak shape anymore. You know what I'm saying? So those are things I'm grappling with. But with music, it's not like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm ready to rap, man.
Well, maybe they'll be able to hear something by the show.
Yeah, you said we was gonna get into it.
We'll get into it. I want to talk.
At your leisure.
I want to tap into a little bit more of like the youth stuff that you're doing, because every week you're doing the Wise runs, right? Tell me a little bit more about that. That's like pickup basketball, right?
Yeah, that's pickup. That's actually more of an event, an adult piece right now. The main thing I'm doing for the youth has been teaching.
Okay.
Actually, like in the schools, like I was able to pick up a role at a school in the community, and from my birthday, February 25th, for the next 4 months. Sure.
You good on that?
From February to the end of the school year, I was teaching, and I was doing both too. So I was teaching kids in person, and I was teaching
online,
remote.
Yeah.
So that was such a learning experience. You know what I'm saying? To be an adult, but to have, access to the minds of the next generation and learn from them. And I was a sub, so I was teaching a bunch of classes.
Yo, I've been a sub too, man. It's mad fun. I love it, dude.
Yeah.
I can't. Well, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this real quick.
It wasn't as. I'm not gonna say it was as overwhelmingly exhilarating as you just made it. Yeah. There's plenty of stress.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Let me explain first, because like you were a sub in New York City. Mm-hmm. I was a sub in upstate New York, where the class size is like 12, 12 to like 15. Mm-hmm. And it's super small town, like pre-K or like first grade all the way through high school in one school, you know what I mean? So it was super chill. I never had to like deal with like anything too crazy. And I was young enough to like the kids would relate to me. I never had an issue, like never had any kids like acting up in class, like none of that. But I can imagine being a substitute teacher in New York and dealing with a lot more like hecticness as being a sub, because everybody knows, how they used to treat subs in school.
Not used to. Still,
yeah. I'm saying when we were in school, when we had subs, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, so okay, so tell me more about that. Like your experience as a sub.
And this is current too, because I'm teaching summer school now as well.
Okay.
So what I see is that, you know, like say right now I have 2 classes, they're literally in the next room to each other. And like sometimes it's night and day with one group that is focused on, they're in summer school, so either we tap in now and take this seriously, or we're here in middle school for another year and we get to watch our peers go on to high school, and then we're still in middle school.
Yeah.
And I remember what that felt like, the pain of like, because I ended up on an alternative college schedule. So when my class graduated in 13, I remember that pain of like, damn, like me and you were close friends, but you graduated and I didn't. Mm-hmm. Like, that's trash. You know what I mean? And obviously you got to grapple with like, well, my path is my path. Got to do what I got to do. But if I'm feeling that as a young adult, I could imagine how that would really, you know, potentially ruin a kid at 14, 13. It was like, I failed to the point where I have to stay in the 8th grade for another year. And like my best friend that I talk to every day and we walk to and from school together, they're going to high school now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that type of stuff, those type of decisions could take a kid way off the path. To be like, well, fuck school. You know what I'm saying? And they go AWOL. You know, that sadly happens every day, you know? And with these students, what they're dealing with is that not even knowing what happened in their families during the pandemic, but just the fact that they had to, you know, some people really tapped into the remote learning and it was cool for them and they were focused and they were up every day and they were at their computer and it was consistent. But what I'm hearing from them is that some of them just couldn't fuck with it. They basically dropped out of school because the remote demands just didn't click for them. Like they feel like they need to be in the building. So I respect it, but now we're here, right? You got a month to make or break. How is it that one class is quiet as a mouse in here, just grind. And then there's another class where y'all can't stop playing. Y'all can't stop being disruptive.
And now are you working with like the same age group all the time?
Both 8th grade.
8th grade, okay,
right
cool.
Now.
All right.
When I was doing, during the school year, I was with 6, 7, 8. I was doing math, science, social studies, covered a health class, had an English class. I was all over the place. But at least right now, like I like the fact that I'm like locked in with this group and with these 2 groups and I can just, you know, like just be there, you know, because I'm like in an assistant role. So it's like, it's interesting to just, you know, really just be a motivator for them, you know, and just telling them, you know, all my little wiseisms, you know, stay focused and, you know, lock in. And because I'm a person that is from the same bricks as them, that is going to speak some of the same language as them, that because of how I communicate and how I appear physically, I'm more relatable than the average teacher, you know, and I don't try to hide from that. You know, I'm not going to go in there with the suit and tie. Like, this is a work outfit for me, you know, so that they know that cool teachers exist. But I'm not the one to play with, though, because just because I'm young and I'm black and you're young and you're black, that doesn't mean that we friends or that we bro.
Yeah.
Because that type of, you know, lack of seriousness and lack of discipline is how you ended up here. So don't think that just because I have a familiar disposition that now you can continue this habit of not taking school seriously. Like, there's a culture of mediocrity that's pervasive in the black community as it relates to education. Like, schools allow students to just be there and get through, you know, and pass them to the next grade, but it'll be a kid in the 8th grade, but they're on a grade 2 reading level or math level. or both. You know what I'm saying? So having it's one thing to know that conceptually. It's a different thing to see the kid's name and that fact.
Yeah,
like, to see the name and the number is like, I can have a conversation with you in class and you might answer a question, but then I know that you're 5 grades behind where you're supposed to be.
And I leave you with this work, and it's on you rather than like a conversation between me and you, rather, right?
What do you mean by that?
Like a student might be on a very low reading grade level, right?
Okay.
But they can communicate things very well. But when you give them an assignment and you're like, do this, it becomes like a different thing for them. You know what I'm saying? It's different rather than like me asking you a question and you being able to like articulate what you're trying to say, rather than me being like, hey, read this book
and then write
write a report on this book. It's different. You know what I mean? So
I told a kid today, because he was trying to get the answers from his mans. I'm like, yo, you have everything to say about everything. You're the most communicative person in this classroom. You really want to copy off of his answers? Like that doesn't go with your personality. That goes with how you relate to school, because you don't take school seriously generally, right? You're here to be, I don't know, an influencer, right? And influence the class. But you really want to copy off man's, and everything you do in here espouses leadership? No, but it's like, what you're saying is like, you could bring it here, but you can't bring it here. That's a real disconnect.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I know I'm familiar with it a little bit because my mom was a special education director. So even from the time where I was in middle school and I used to have to go to my mom's, because like in Florida, I don't know how it works here, but like in certain parts of Florida, like middle school didn't start until like 8:45, 9 o'clock. And you go till 3.
Okay.
Like 3:30. So when I was in like middle school, I was really bad in middle school, and that was like partially because my mom like moved me from upstate New York, and like we moved to Florida again, and I was just like out of the comfort zone. And so middle school years, I was really bad, bro, just like rebelling like crazy, like getting in trouble all the time. And so it got to the point where my mom had to like move me to a school that was closer to hers, so if she ever had to leave, it was right down the street, and like instead of having to come pick me up or whatever, like deal with it from far away. But I used to deal with a lot of her students, or she would like sit me in on classes with a lot of these like students in that world, you know what I mean? So it gave me like a better understanding, because like sometimes you're like talking to these kids and you're like you wouldn't be able to tell necessarily like in a face-to-face conversation, but you put a test in front of them, and that's kind of like how I was a little bit too. Like I was always good in school with the homework and stuff like that, but you put a test in front of me, it's like kind of it's a little bit intimidating, you know what I mean? And so when you put like these tasks in front of the kids without the face-to-face contact, it becomes a whole totally different world for them. You know?
Yeah, man. I mean, I had some students that would come to class every day and do nothing.
Yeah.
But they'd be there to get the attendance credit.
Yeah.
And you don't even know why, because it's not like they have the camera on and you can't really talk to them.
Yeah.
They're just in the class. And really, how I started adjusting into it is I'm a rock with who rocking with me.
Yeah.
So if I have 5 students that's locked in, we're going to lock in. And you're here and you see what we're doing. So I'm not going to step on your neck to pressure you to do the work.
Yeah.
You logged in. You seen the assignment when it got posted. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know what's going. This is school. This is not your first year of school. You know what the arrangement is. Like, we're here to learn. We're here to work hard. And I always demand that from students. Like, I don't demand. Like, I don't want you to think that, like, I don't want you to think that is easy or that is playful.
Yeah.
Because this schooling is to prepare you for life, which is going to be infinitely much harder than you think this worksheet is.
Yeah.
So if you cannot wrap your head around this book, and the questions is right there. All you have to do is read the passage and answer the questions. If you're going to do everything to avoid doing this, then you're going to be for a rude awakening. And I don't want you to be a black man in this world without a work ethic.
Yeah.
Because you're going to need it, because you're going to have to work exponentially harder than everyone else in your surroundings, because it's like they're caught up in the physical space that they're in with their friends and their peers, but
they're not necessarily focused on the next.
That's
what's
what I'm
going to happen
saying.
next.
Every level you get to, now we're adults. We're competing with 8 billion people.
Yeah.
As a middle schooler, you're competing with the 8 kids in your class.
Yeah.
That's what you could see. You know what I'm saying? And you're just trying to have the funniest joke, the freshest fit, you know what I'm saying, the nicest phone. That's the plane that they're living on. But from our perspective as adults, we got to make them aware, like, no, like, there's going to be a point where, like, you're going to have to cut it. It's like, I'm saying, okay, you nice at your school, but, like, what you going to do when it's AAU season? You know what I'm saying? You was nice in high school, but what you going to do in college? You have plenty of players that's college all-timers, but didn't do much when they got to the league.
Yeah.
Or couldn't even get a contract. So we gotta make it real for them and, like, let them know, because otherwise you might get stranded on the block because you never developed that hustler's energy to know how to work hard.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. It's a weird thing, man. It's a weird. I was gonna ask you. I was just gonna, like, be like, what's, like, your favorite, like, age group to teach? But you said you've been just working with 8th graders.
Yeah, I got high school experience, and I would think if I was comparing the years, I definitely have more middle school experience than high school experience. But, like, high school, you really could do more. You should be doing a lot less behavioral stuff in high school, and really can, like, have fun with content and, like, you know, have intellectual discussions and
like, being a little bit more, like, impactful on life rather than, like, just do, you know. It was fun because, like, when I was a sub, it was weird because it was, like, sometimes I like teaching, like, the 9th graders and stuff like that, 10th graders. I grew to, like, to be close to, like, the sports kids on the teams or whatever, so I'll play basketball with them after, you know what I mean, blah, blah, blah. But my favorite was, like, 1st, 2nd, 3rd grade, man. Like, those kids are so fun, you know? I never, like, felt stressed out about that. Like, it was fun, like, teaching little kids. And it's interesting to, like, pick people's brains about, like, what they prefer, like, what they were working on, you know what I mean? And I didn't know that. I didn't know that you were a substitute teacher.
Surprise! In between,
because you got, as I'm saying, you got a million things going on. You got. Before we get into a little bit of the music stuff, tell me a little bit more of, like, the Mastery Studios, and also before that, like, the black market wares. Where what happened to that? Is that still a thing? Because I remember when I met you, that was a thing.
That was the brand.
That was a brand, black market wares. But now it's Mastery Studios,
right.
And Waterman Agency.
We working.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, like, those two things.
Okay. So the plan is there's an umbrella corporation that I've established, and that's really going to be the hub, because I've suffered from this brand, that brand, this idea, trying to cook them all separately. So throughout that, when I told you, I after we suffered the miscarriage and I quit the job, throughout that time I was working at that job, I was developing this new company to where I could have my business, SIS, underneath one umbrella. But then I was looking at a lot of different social issues that was really fucking with me, particularly homelessness, because that's something that my work was dealing with. I was having to help people find housing and stuff like that. So I'm like, homelessness is an issue that, like, doesn't really make sense, but it's so pervasive in our society. You know what I'm saying? Just on the way here, you know, I'm the type of person that's going to give if I got it. So I'm at Union Square. So I'm showing love as necessary, or on the train as necessary. So that was just bringing me back into the space, and I knew when me having that experience come here, I knew I wanted to talk to you about that. So I started building these big ideas about like how we could solve homelessness, right? And I'm like, well, me having this whole huge real estate development / social enterprise, that doesn't make sense to go underneath a clothing brand.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I need to zoom out of this like Chris Wise the artist thing and figure out who am I as a CEO, and the music is just a part of that approach. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously I'm a student of Hove in that regard. Of you start with music as your base and you try to do your best to keep the main thing, but you're able to develop a integrated product mix and a platform that you can do whatever your heart desires and make sense in the marketplace.
Yeah.
You know? So I have my corporation, and then Mastery Studios is the brand / record label.
So the corporation is Waterman Agency.
No, it's actually 1700 Capital Ventures, and 1700 represents where I'm from, Ebbsfield, 1700 Bedford Avenue, and that for historians is where the Brooklyn Dodgers used to play.
Okay, so I got to talk to you about this. I was looking for it. I moved, so it's like somewhere in a box. But I remember I told you that I had like a little gift for you.
Okay.
And I got a really special gift for you, bro.
Okay.
It's just a baseball card. But like my I mean, I'm not gonna surprise. I'm gonna tell you what it is.
Surprise. Yeah,
when I give it to you, I'm gonna give it to you when I find it. I just gotta.
Now I want to know what it is.
So my grandfather was a baseball player as well.
Okay.
And he used to catch for this pitcher named Johnny Padres, who was from upstate New York, like where my family's from.
Okay.
And he was
giving y'all some real pod today, man. Y'all getting some shit y'all ain't expect, man.
He was I have so many things signed by this guy from my grandfather, like crazy shit.
Johnny Padres.
Okay. He was the 1955 World Series MVP for the Brooklyn Dodgers at Ebbets Field. And I have a signed card for you somewhere. It's in my house somewhere. I just got to look through the boxes because I just moved. But I got it for you.
So you telling me your grandfather trained with the
1955 World Series MVP. Yes.
Yo, man.
My grandfather like played a little bit of like somewhat pro-ish ball, but then during that time he went to the Army and became like a paratrooper.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he was like really good friends with Johnny Padres. I met him when I was in like 5th, 6th grade, something like that. Like my grandfather took me to meet him, but yeah, I got a bunch of.
You got to work out with him too, or you just met him? Like,
nah, I just met him. Yeah, and he eventually became like a pitching coach for the Phillies, and a bunch of different stuff. But yeah, he's passed away now. But yeah, I got a bunch of stuff signed from him, and I have a card for you, bro. And I was looking for it before I came here. I can't find it because I was just like rushing through my boxes or whatever. But I got it for you.
That's mad, like in sync, because today I was looking at the 1955 like World Series commemorative logo to pull the colors, to pull the blue, to pull the red. So like, I literally was on that like commemorative logo like just today. So
yeah, I got it. I'm same wavelength. I got a million things, bro, like signed by him. I'm actually going upstate. If I can't find the card this week before I leave upstate, like I'm going to Lake George on like Sunday or Monday. And all my baseball stuff is up there. Like I said, I got a million cards signed from him. So I'll just get you another one if I can't find the one that's in my room somewhere.
Johnny.
But I got one for you, man, because I figured that would mean a lot to you, bro, because it was just like Ebbets Field, Brooklyn Dodgers. I think it was like one of the last. I don't know what year the Brooklyn Dodgers went to L.A. It was like maybe a couple years after. Yeah, it was 2 years.
And then the complex went up 62.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Special stuff, bro. I got a bunch of stuff, but I'm gonna bring it to you because I want you to have that.
I appreciate that,
especially for the being Ebbets Field. Every time I pass by it all the time when I'm working, and I'm like, damn, because you still live there. You still live in Ebbets Field, right? Yeah. Every time I pass it, I'm like, I gotta give this dude his card. But before we get out of here, I wanna. So wait. What's this that you sent me? Talk to me a little bit about this. What you sent me here? This is instrumental.
Well, so going back to the whole point, right? I told you I was asking myself, am I gonna do this? Because I'm the type of person, like I told you, I'm figuring out who I am as a CEO.
Yeah.
I have a whole company that I could run. I don't have to do music. You know what I'm saying? Or I have credentials, bachelor's degree, master's degree, 10 years of real work experience that have nothing to do with art.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to myself like I could have a whole different life. You know what I'm saying? Different than the one that's rapping IB in that video.
Yeah.
Right? Or that's hustling to try to rap on trains or try to sell a mixtape. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to be Chris Wise. I can be Christian Waterman and be successful. I could be a billionaire doing that. Well, I'm probably gonna get to the billion as Christian Waterman, not necessarily as Chris Wise, the rapper.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm having all these conversations with myself in 2020, and it's obviously heightened because I have a child on the way. So my point of I guess epiphany is just like I love it enough to keep going. And I took time to not necessarily work on my music, but to just fall in love with music again.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So shout out Larry June, shout out Always Nip. Griselda was huge for me last year. You know, all of them, Wes, Benny, Conway, and then obviously within that, I'm hearing what's up with Boldy James. You know,
shout out Boldy, yeah, because I knew Boldy when I was working at Mass Appeal.
Oh yeah, he was signed there, right?
Yeah, he might still honestly be
on the back
affiliated.
End.
Yeah, because I know he's like the unspoken member of Griselda. I know they like kind of like picked him up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out Boldy, man. He deserves it.
Mm-hmm.
He's super dope.
Yeah, so his style gave me fresh confidence in 2020 in terms of his vocal approach, but then also just his disposition. Like, you know, he's not trying to be anything other than who he is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a man and I rap.
Yeah.
And that's me in comparison to some of who would be my peers in the industry who focus, I'm not going to say they focus more on that than music, but there's people who focus a lot on image amidst their music.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to dress well, but
I like to rap better.
no, I just like, I'm not trying to do too much. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's like Steve Jobs was richer than everybody he walked amongst, but he still was going to wear his uniform.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The black turtleneck with the new bows.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or like, going back to what I'm saying, trying to tell the kids is like, it's not a fashion show. If I'm coming to work, I don't have to get jiggy for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming to work.
Yeah.
And you're going to school, which is your job. You don't have to get jiggy for these people.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to work. You know what I'm saying? So I bring that workmanship to everything I do. You know what I'm saying? So where are we at? I'm feeling good. Okay, cool. Either way, that's Claiborne Kick from Pray for Paris.
The producer on this.
No, but you know Pray for Paris, the West Side Gun album, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's the instrumental to Claiborne Kick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'm bugging.
So that was one of the joints that helped me. Like, I love that album. I loved a lot of the records that was coming out from them. So I was able to put my spin on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I wanted to share with you today.
Well, shit, we're gonna share it, man, on the way out of here. So this is the first, and that's so funny because last episode I was like, yo, I need to start doing like in studio.
I saw you said that, so I said I'm gonna fuck with you, man. That's why I ain't saying no record.
All right, let's
like,
get to it, man.
Yeah.
Let's get to it. Some Chris Wise music here. This is unreleased, right?
Yeah, this is brand new, man.
All right,
yeah,
so
they ain't got that.
Let's get to it.
Turn down a little bit. Oh yeah. Swallow bitter pills with kawaii emotion, wild devotion. With a name like Wise, you can tell that I rhyme like oceans, rhyme like potions. Y'all divide, I'm the quotient, delivering proper portion. Stop the horseshit, land so lawless, I'm the enforcement. Yeah. Don't ask me who I'm endorsing in no election. When I focus on sound and sound investments and try not to get my neck split, they just touched son on president, and the next day I'm on president at my grandma's residence, ruminating on the traumas that I've inherited. Still grind to embellish it, package it and mailing it as a hellified modern slave narrative. Dex said I'm seen as a hero, the church said I'm seen as a deacon, as my wife bring life to the world, swear womb is my beacon. Looking in the mirror and I love what I'm seeing. Pride, power, dynastic, little less erratic, more reflective, well connected, just ask my swear something about the Thursday night to the Friday morning. I'm on my third black coffee, letting off launches. Plenty of them moving sus around me, still won't make a fuss around me, cause they know that my cloth cut different. Did I stutter or simply utter the truth and you heard it twice? You gotta want it at them scary hours, gotta face your fears for breakfast, lunch and dinner and dessert. Midnight snack in the middle of the night in the fridge, but you looking for something, anything, that'll quench your thirst. Life don't get easier, in fact it becomes worse, but you get to the point where you gotta stop running, it just makes shit work. I was voted most likely to succeed, bitch, no excuses. I couldn't read this, so I wrote my own fucking blueprint. And Swift Ben told me, it's the music, it's the music, it's the music. When I couldn't shake, y'all moved for me. Now I'm paying back taxes. When it all seemed lost, I was down to my last Drew Jackson. I regained my faith through my pen and my pad and my black skin. Now I'm shooting through the pack as the vet with necks, and I love my ranking. And I'm pulling from the park leaf, cause I know that my work on parchment, it sound like God's speech. And at this point, it's way too late for me to pivot. I got everything riding on this one play, dog, let's get it. Hail Mary, my father dipped like he couldn't stand me. Now I stand tall, way more likely to get a Grammy than a plan B. Shot connected, miracle worker, phone blinging, yet another purchase. My poems flicking like an oven furnace. Through the fall of Rome, I've been steady working with a steady hand, trying to right my wrongs and the ones I can't. Brushing with the sage, brushing with the sage. Through the fall of Rome, I've been steady working with a steady hand, trying to right my wrongs and the ones I can't. I brush them with the sage, brush them with the sage, brush them with the sage. The ones I can't, brush them with the sage, brush them with the sage, brush them with the sage.
I feel like I need to hit him with a funk flex.
Whatever your approach is, man.
Yo, this is fun. I need to do this more often, man.
Come on,
like,
man.
Yo,
Tone.
I think that's like the perfect way to end this show.
Set the tone.
To end this episode. Chris Wise, thank you for coming through the Bout Whatever podcast once again.
We back.
And you're always welcome here, bro. So next time we do this, it'll be even more special. We might get to do a little reunion like show of like all the Who's on Deck guys and a little back in the day stuff. Chris,
yo, love.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you coming through here. Like I said, we've been working on this for a while. We've been trying to make this happen. But you didn't
give up on me, man.
I didn't, man. Nah, there's been some people I have given up on, but I'm not giving up on you.
I was ducking and dodging, but you stayed faithful to me, man. I really appreciate it.
Of course, man. Anytime, bro. Thank you for coming through, bro. Have a good one, man. Peace.
Love.